welcome back to your next TriCore at-home workout. Today we've got a couple props that we're going to use. So number one, a chair. So you want to have a chair. That's the one thing that you have to have for today's workout. Otherwise, we're bringing in some accessory toys. So today I've got some dumbbells. I've got a kettlebell. If you want to add some weight to this workout today, we're going to do some lunges. We're going to do some single leg pistol squats. So just adding some exterior weight as an option. It's not something you have to do, but we do need a chair for today's 20-minute workout. So for our warm-up, we've got a 5-minute start here. And we're just going to start nice and slow. So take those feet just a little bit wider than your hips. We're going to take it down into a squat, nice and slow. Take it nice and low, really sit into those hips, sit into those heels, and then rise up. And as we come up, squeeze your butt, draw that belly tight. Just kind of wake up the body, start moving here. Hope everybody had a good Sunday. I had a Sunday on the couch. I ordered Chinese food. They brought me 3 fortune cookies. That tells you how much food I ordered. It was just me. Last 2 here. But I did eat it for like 3 meals yesterday. All right. Now let's go ahead and take it down to the bottom of your squat, and we're just gonna hold here. So if this is uncomfortable for you, it's nice to grab something. If you have a chair, a table, something that you can kind of hold on to really allow yourself to get low in that squat. Keep those heels down and just kind of do a little side to side shift. I like to use my elbows to press out against those knees. Hey, squat, pet puppies while you're in your squat. And then start to just kind of do this little roll out of the knee. So I like to press and roll it out to the side, alternating side to side there. Just kind of opening up those hips. After sitting on the couch all day, my hips need to move a little bit. All right, and then from there, we're gonna come up. We're gonna go into our plank walkouts to a little extension. So feet at a hip distance, we're gonna hinge forward, walk out to your plank position. And then from there, I'm just gonna let my hips drop and extend. Toes tuck, walk it back in. And you are welcome to take any variation of this stretch or any other movement that you feel like your body might need before we get started. We've got about 2.5 minutes left here in the warm-up. Maybe take a little gaze over the shoulder. My phone just rang. Is it fine? All right, we got 2 more here. And one last one. All right, so then from there, we're gonna go 4 on each side. Single leg reach to balance. So bring one knee up, and then that leg is gonna reach back. Watch your chair. Reach back as you forward fold. And then bring the knee up, opening up that hip. All right, next one. Finding something to focus on when you're balancing is key. Try not to talk too much while you're balancing. All right, we got about 60 seconds left here. I'm gonna go back into my squats. And like I said, if there's any movement that your body needs this morning before we start moving a little bit more, feel free to take those stretches. casual dog cameos this morning. It's very calm out here. Good, we've got 30 seconds. I'm gonna take it back down to the bottom of my squat and hang out there. So today's workouts, like I said, we're using the chair. I'm gonna give you an option of not using the chair, so if it's just not something that's accessible to you, I would imagine you have a chair, or just kind of a more mild version of the movements. We'll go through all of those. So I'll give you exercise with the chair with some extra weights, and then I'll give you the modification, no chair, no weights. All right. And we are done with that. So we've got 20 minutes today. So it's a 20-minute AMRAP. It's more of a foundation series, so it's not gonna be anything too fast. It's gonna be more about control. That's where I'm adding that extra weight, is just to give it a little bit more strength component versus being that high intensity cardio. So, first movement. This is where I'm gonna grab my dumbbells. We're gonna do a reverse lunge. So you're gonna step away from the chair. You want enough space so that you've got a bit of a reach back. You wanna have those hips so that they're squared up. Ball of the foot is on the chair. I wanna make sure that as I go down, I'm traveling straight down. That chest stays upright. My knee stays right over the ankle, maybe a little in front, but I wanna make sure that my knee does not go past the toes on that front leg, and that I can stay pressing down into my heel. So we've got 15 on each side there. Your next movement is gonna be feet elevated pike push-up. Obviously with those, with split lunge is gonna be just on the ground, no weight, doing that same lift and lower. And then the next one is gonna be your pike push-up. So I'm gonna tuck my shirt in so it doesn't come up over my head. Hands go on the ground, feet go up onto the chair. I wanna be up on my toes, and I'm gonna walk those hips back. I wanna turn my hands in just slightly, and then I'm bending my elbows, letting the top of my head come down and up. Hitting the tops of their shoulders, keeping the back of the neck relaxed. Again, that alternative is gonna be just to do it on the ground. So a little bit less resistance, same thing, heels lifted, top of the head reaches towards the ground as you bend and press. So feet elevated, just gonna intensify that movement a little bit. All right, our next one is gonna be a side plank crunch. So you're gonna lay on your side. I like my feet stacked. It's kind of up to you. You can stagger the feet out or you can stack them. We're gonna come onto the forearm in a plank position. Hand goes behind the head. We're gonna reach and open. We've got 15 on each side with those. Again, the alternative is gonna be just to stay down on the ground. Same motion, and again, you can stagger out the feet for a little bit more balance support. You can also come down onto the knee there for even a little bit less weight on that shoulder. So a couple different options on those side planks. And then our last one is gonna be a pistol squat. And again, this is where you can add a little bit of weight. You hold a dumbbell, kettlebell, anything that feels good for you. Let's see if my balance is ready for this. So shoulders back, you're gonna extend one leg out in front of you. I like to let my weight come all the way down. There's definitely a different strength component versus just kind of lightly tapping. I like to really sit back on that chair and then find that anchor down through the heel, rise all the way up. 15 on each side with those. So that's our workout today. I'll kind of walk you through that first set, and then if you want to go faster than me, if you're going slower, it's really up to you. Just remember we've got 5 movements. So it's a split squat, the pike push-ups, the hip lift. Oh wait, I skipped one. Did I skip one? It's Monday, guys. It's a good thing we're reviewing this. All right, so the one I skipped is our hip lift. So shoulders on the edge of the chair, hips hanging down. You can go hands behind your head to support your neck. So your hips go down, your eyes are up, and then as you raise those hips up, look towards the sky and back down. Sorry about that. I think this is my first day. Okay, so that being said, we have 5 movements, 20 minutes, 15 reps of everything. So if it's a single side, we're going 15 on each side. So it's gonna be slow, it's gonna be controlled, and it's more about strength about balance and coordination today, not about that high intensity work. So, we've got 20 minutes on the clock. Maybe. All right, starting with those reverse split squats, 15 reps on each side, 3, 2, 1, and go. So set up. It's really important on these, just making sure that everything is in alignment, you've got everything in the right spot as you're working. And I like to keep a soft bend in both of my knees. So even as I'm holding and I'm coming to that fully extended leg, I'm trying not to lock out that front knee. Keeping the weight of my heels. My toes are nice and light on that right leg. Good. Again, finding something to stay focused on will help with that balance. If you're struggling with your balance, grab a bar, grab a countertop, get close to a wall, something that helps support that stabilization. Last one. Here. Beautiful. And then we'll switch sides. If you only have one weight, if you have a kettlebell or something that's just single, you can hold it up at the chest, kind of in a front rack position. If you have dumbbells, you can always add to this motion. You can take it into a little bicep curl as you lower. Just kind of play with it. All right, your next move, if you're ready to move on, is those feet elevated shoulder press or pike push-ups. I still have 5 more here. You feel free to move on. You got 15 there. All right, so next move here, tucking that shirt in so it doesn't come up over my head. Hands on the floor, feet on that chair. Heels lift nice and high. Bend on the inhale, exhale, press. Keep drawing that belly tight. We've got 15 here. All right. As we come back down, our next move is going to be that hip lift with the shoulders on the edge of the chair. So, this is not the best chair for this. It's a little rough on the back there. The towel helps some, but all right, so we got feet at a hip distance apart. Again, find that spot where we can anchor down through the whole foot. Heels are heavy, tailbone is long. As we exhale, drive down into those heels to lift your hips. So on these, we want to think about spinal stabilization. Keeping that core active, keeping that spine steady, and the thrust is from hamstrings and glutes. So again, on this one, if you want to make it a little more challenging, you can take that extra weight, place it on your hips, give yourself a little exterior support or resistance. All right, once we hit 15 there, we're going into those decline side plank crunches. So this one, on the forearm, feet are stacked or staggered, up to you. Hand behind the head, and reach. It's like a little challenging on the ankle there. I got 5 more here. Good job. Always just know that you can always come down, modify, adjust your position if something isn't feeling right. Setup is important here. Sorry to turn my back to you. Kind of hit the other side. If you're already through this round, your last movement is going to be that single leg pistol squat. We've got our last move coming up here. So again, this is one where you can add some extra weight. I think I'll just do 1 dumbbell to start. Maybe for round 2, I'll add a second one. So we got 15 on each leg. I'm gonna hold it here in that front rack position, setting it down and lift. Extra challenge on these, you can stand up on the chair and let that leg drop towards the ground. You want that little deficit squat. I don't feel confident enough to do those on camera without falling into the pool or on my ass, one or the other. Not really ready for that today. Other side. So remember, you are working at your own pace, so if you're ready to move on, you start back with those reverse split squats. Now that you know the movements, you've done it once, maybe you can speed up a little bit. We've got 12 minutes left. Like I said, this isn't a fast pace series. This is about control, stabilization, keeping that form. Grab a sip of water. On those reverse split squats, remember we've got 15 on each side. Grab my weights. Again, make sure you're set far enough out that you can keep that front heel anchored down, the hips are squared, letting that back knee draw down towards the floor, letting it soften, keeping that tailbone reaching down, belly lifting in and up as we work. Got 4 more here. I don't know about you. 3. All right. Remember, you do have the option of doing these with your feet on the ground. As we start to fatigue, remember to take your time. You don't want to compromise form for speed. Whew. Oh yeah. That'll get your legs nice and warm. All right, moving on to our next one. It's gonna be those pike push-ups. So remember, you can go feet on the chair. If that's too much for you, just work on getting into that position with your feet on the ground. Letting your heels rise up, your hips reach up, and your head drops down between the arms. That gaze goes back between your legs as you lower and lift. And there's nothing wrong with modifications. If it feels better for you, if it's going to make you feel more successful, take the place that works for you. It's always good to challenge yourself, but not to the point where you're compromising your form and risking injury. Move, we're going back into those shoulders on the chair, hips lift. So as we set up here, if you want to add another little optional movement, is take it into a single leg. Same motion, but just with one foot elevated. Up to you. Like to give you options. There's always ways to make things a little bit more challenging or to scale them back a little bit. If you are ready to move on, your next set is that decline side plank. All right, we are down to your last about 6.5 minutes. See if I can get my setup a little more comfortable here so it's not digging into my ankle. As you lift into that side plank, make sure everything is stacked up. Hand goes behind the head. Rotate and open. Got the other side here. If this starts to again become too much, make sure you balance out. So if you did 15 on one side, you got to bring it to 15 on the other side. But remember, feet on the floor is an option with these. feeling those obliques. Make sure you're feeling the shoulders. Whew. All right. We are under 5 minutes here. Our next movement is back to that pistol squat. I'm gonna grab my dumbbell again. Just hold it up here in that front rack position. We've got 15 on each side here. Once you finish up with these, you're right back to those reverse split squats. Whew. One side done, on to the next side. This is definitely my more challenging side. You can definitely feel a little more compensation happening on this left side. So really pay attention to driving down into the heel, firing up that posterior chain, fully extending that hip at the top. We've got less than 3 minutes left here. Hang in there, guys. More of a fall than a sit. That was my 15th rep. All right, 2.5 minutes. Take it right back into those split squats. Should have enough time to finish these. And these, again, if you want to just stay on the ground here, same exact movement. That back knee drives straight down, that front heel stays heavy, torso stays upright. So especially if you're holding weights, really feel those shoulder blades sit back on the rib cage. You'll notice I keep a little more bend in that front leg with that foot forward and that back foot on the ground. Woo. We've got 90 seconds left here. Whew. Legs are fatiguing. Just in time for that last 60 seconds. All right, let's take it back into those inverted push-ups. Feet up on the chair or on the ground, hips towards the ceiling, head towards the floor. Last 10 seconds. job, guys. Take a minute, grab a sip of water. Even though that wasn't high intensity, still got the heart rate up a little. All right, so for our cool down series, shoes are always optional. I always prefer to take my shoes off, but it's up to you. For the cool down, you don't need any props, just you and your body. All right, so let's go ahead and start in a standing position. We're gonna find that spot where your feet are about a hip distance apart. Feet are parallel, heels right underneath those sit bones, and that tailbone's lengthening down towards the heels. Lift those toes and feel that lift from the toes creates this lift, the inner arch of the foot up through the inner ankle. That activates the inner thighs and front of the thighs. So we want to feel this sense of lift up through the front of the body. As we reach up through the sternum, up through the crown of the head, feel those collarbones get wide and the shoulder blades just drop back and down. Feel the tailbone lengthen down towards your heels and how that creates this slight lift in the low belly. And as we hold that, let's bring those arms up over your head, interlace those fingers, flip the palms up, and just reach. Lifting through the chest, keep that tailbone reaching down as the chest rises. Maybe take it into just a light back bend. And then we'll release those hands and we're gonna dive down into that forward fold. And as we hold here, just let the back of the neck relax. You can reach to the ground or you can just grab onto the opposite elbows. Just let the head and shoulders and arms just hang from the upper back. Maybe just go into a little side-to-side sway. And then as we come back to center, you're going to anchor that right hand down on the floor. You can soften that right knee. Think of that left hip drawing up and back as we reach the left hand up to the ceiling. Take that gaze up to the fingertips and hold for 3, 2, 1. And then bring it back down. As we come back to center, that left knee is going to soften. Left hand anchors as we switch. Bring it all the way back down. And then from there, let's walk your feet together. And I want you to grab behind your legs. So wrap your arms around the back of your legs, right above your knees or right around your knees. We're gonna inhale, sit down, and then as you exhale, press the heels down, hips reach up, back of the neck relaxes. Try to keep the weight in the heels, the toes are lifting up. Inhale as we sit down, exhale as we extend those legs. Let's do that 3 more times. Last 2. And last 1. And then release those hands. Find the weight in your heels, scoop that low belly, bring it all the way back up to standing, and then just roll those shoulders out. And then from there, we're going to take that right ankle, cross it over the top of your left thigh. So right above the knee. If you need, again, that chair to hold on to, feel free to grab that or get close to a wall. And we're just going to reach forward as we sit back, getting that big stretch in that right hip. And then rise up. Sit low. And lift. Let's do that 2 more times. And on this next one, as we go down, we're gonna hold it, maybe, for a 10 count. 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Whew. Shake that out. And when you're ready, we're gonna switch to the other side. So we'll take that left ankle, cross it over the top of your right thigh. And same thing here, arms are gonna sweep forward as we sit back into that hip. Two more. Last one. Hold it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. All right. Now from there, we're gonna take it to the ground. So we're just gonna sit on your mat, on the floor. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet together into this little butterfly stretch. So really up to you how far you wanna take that position. So you can bring those heels as close to your hips as you want, pressing those knees out wide, or you might wanna take it out a little bit longer. Just feel, each position just kind of stretches the hips a little differently. So I'm gonna go out just a little bit further today. Just wanna work on my sit bones, kind of lengthening back. I wanna hinge at the waist and then fold forward and using my arms to kind of press out against those knees and just take it into a nice forward fold. Really thinking of keeping that spine straight as we fold towards the legs. Beautiful. All right, and then as we rise up, we're gonna go into our little 90-90 stretch. So I'm just gonna sweep that left leg back. That right foot's gonna come and sit right inside of my left thigh. And then I'll just rotate and fold towards that front knee. And then as I come up, I'm gonna take it into a little mermaid stretch. So left hand comes across the waist, and my right arm is gonna reach up and over. And then as I come back up, hands down to the floor as I fold. I'm gonna do that 3 times. Last 2. Last one. As we come up, we're just going to rotate those legs to the opposite side. So starting that same way, we're rotating towards that left leg. I'm just going to fold over. And then as I come up, right hand goes across the waist as the left arm reaches up and over. More here. Last one. Beautiful. All right, as we turn, we're going to take it into some bridge work. So we're going to lay down on your back. As you lay down on your back, we want to find the spot where you draw those heels in towards your hips. Bringing your hands down, you should be able to touch the heels with your fingertips as you set up here. Heels are in alignment with those sit bones, and the knees stay right in alignment with those heels. And we want to start by just pressing your back flat into the mat. So we're drawing that navel in towards the spine. It's not from a glute clench, it's from drawing your navel in and just gently letting that pelvis rock. And as we press down through that lower back, we're going to start to lift from the tip of the tailbone, rolling up to the top of the shoulders. And on this first one, I like to just kind of pause at the top, and I want to feel this sense of length through the front of my thighs. I'm reaching my knees long, and I want to feel a line from the front of my shoulders straight down to my knees. So I'm really lifting through the hips, not through the ribs. I want to focus on that rib to hip connection here so that I'm not overextending my rib cage, but keeping those ribs soft and really focusing on firing up through the hamstrings and through the glutes. And then as I exhale, I'm going to slowly just roll it back down, one vertebrae at a time, taking it all the way back down. And let's go for 4 more here. Press that spine flat. Use the exhale to roll to the top of the shoulders. Inhale here. Exhale as we curl it back down. Last 3. Beautiful. On this next one, as we go to the top of that bridge, we're going to pause there. Shoulders keep pressing back. The toes are down, and we're just going to exhale, lift the heels, and press them down. Exhale, lift, lower. 3, 4, let's go for 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Roll it all the way down. Lengthen back out through the tip of that tailbone. All right, so our next one, we're gonna come to the top. We're gonna do little pulses at the top. So pressing down into those heels, draw that belly tight, slowly lengthen up, 1 vertebrae at a time. And then from there, pressing down into those heels, we're lifting for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it all the way down. Beautiful. Bring those knees into the chest. Give me a little side-to-side rock. All right, and then from there, let's go ahead and anchor those feet back down. Find that length through the tip of the tailbone. Bring your hands behind your head. We're gonna go into a little upper body flexion here. So I want you to interlace those fingers behind your head, creating this nice little support for the weight of your head. So that as we're lifting from the abdominals, we're curling the head, neck, and shoulders up, but trying to stay out of clenching in the front of the neck. So you want to think nice, long spine. I'm kind of lengthening through the back of my neck as I exhale, peeling up, keeping that length through the tip of the tailbone as I curl up. Inhale, lengthen back. Keep the elbows wide. The weight of the head should stay back in those hands. Really keeping the front of the throat open. You should be able to talk. You should be able to breathe. Inhale as we lengthen back. Can you curl up without tucking that tailbone, without pushing your spine flat to the mat? Think long tailbone. Your pubic bone is your anchor, and we're pulling the ribs down towards your pubic bone to create that flexion. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Let's hold it there. Lift onto your toes, and we're going to do some knee floats here. 1 knee comes up and tap. 2. 6. Let's go 2 more. 2. 1. Back to center. Float both feet up. We're going to tap and lift. We've got 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. All right, as we take it down, let's just roll over to the left side. And I'm going to extend my left leg out, bring my right knee down to the floor. My arms are reaching out in front, and I'm just going to take that right arm and peel it back. I'm looking back towards those fingertips. Beautiful. Bring it back to center. And then we'll turn to the opposite side. So we're going to lay on that right side. Right leg extends as that left knee comes forward. Arms extend out in front of you, and then just peel that left arm back. Beautiful. Bring it back into center. And then just bring those knees into the chest. Rock them side to side. And then bring yourself back up to that seated position. And we are all done today. Join us back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. for a fire class. If you missed today's workout live, you can catch it on YouTube. Thanks.